A huge rubber match today in Kansas City. Tyler Mroz, Heat Ratio Sports, Phillies pre-game live. A big one tonight. Also, a huge one last night. The Phillies had a ginormous victory, 11-2 against the Kansas City Royals. Dropped game one, bounced back, and dominated game two on the backs of JT Realmuto, who we are going to be talking about because there is a slight lineup change at the back end today. It is Colby Allard. He's 1-0 with a 3.46 ERA. Going up against Seth Lugo, he's been one of the best pitchers in the American League so far. 14-7, a 3.02 ERA. And to make room for Colby Allard on the roster, Max Lazar was optioned to AAA. Rob Thompson commented today again on Taijuan Walker saying he does not know if he's going to make his next start. And I've been very impressed with Max Lazar lately. He's pitched about 6 innings and he hasn't given up a single run. He struck out, I believe, almost a batter an inning. So he's been awesome for the bullpen. I do believe he's a good back end, not like a high pressure situation guy. I think eventually he could definitely become that, but definitely think he'll be on the roster after tomorrow. Whether that's Colby Allard going back down, they just wanted him to start the game, get 4 or 5 innings, maybe even 6. We'll get into that also too. But is Taijuan Walker, are they discussing options of designating him for assignment? Are they going to put him back on the injured list? A lot of unanswered questions that we will hopefully find out more soon. So Phillies lineup changes today. No JT Realmuto, who had a career-high 7 RBIs last night, hit 2 3-run home runs. He's out. Garrett Stubbs is in at catcher. Rob Thompson said that this decision was made 3 days ago to have him be benched today. He's 33 years old. He's still coming off. He's been off the IL for what, a month, but still he's older. He's been playing in 5 straight games, and the Phillies have another really tough stretch coming up. They have 3 games against the Houston Astros, and then they have 4 against the Atlanta Braves. So you really need JT for those games. Having him out for 1 game on a Sunday isn't the end of the world. It's not like the Bryce Harper thing where he has a day off the next day. So why are you like that whole controversy? Rob Thompson's been doing this with JT Realmuto, so today is really no different. And then Austin Hayes is out. Johan Rojas is getting the start today. Austin Hayes had a decent game last night. He was, I believe, 1 for 3. Had that nice double, but Johan Rojas gets the start today. And Johan Rojas has been very good for the Phillies since being called back up from AAA. So I'm excited to see what he can do in the starting lineup today. What's going on, David? What's going on? Anything, not just the Phillies. What are the Angels doing? You got to let me know what they're up to today. And then the Royals made a roster move. Hunter Renfroe, their outfielder, he was moved to the 10-day injured list. I forget the guy's name that they called up for him, but starting in the outfield today, Garrett Hampson. I was looking on the Royals. I like going on the Royals or any other team's Instagram or Twitter. There we go. I don't know how long. How long was I out for? I don't know. How long was I out for? Was I out for a while? I don't know. We'll go back to, I don't know if that got on camera or not. But Hunter Renfroe to the 10-day IL. Garrett Hampson is starting in center field today. I like to go look at the Royals Twitter comments, Instagram comments when they post the lineup just to see their perspective, because obviously those fans watch the Royals a lot more than I do. So a lot of people saying Garrett Hampson was not the greatest and that this was a throwaway lineup, especially with how Seth Lugo has been pitching lately. So I'm not sure. About a minute. Oh, dang. That's tough. Oh, wow. So yeah, that's I was just talking about how I look at the Royals comments with and they were not a fan of Garrett Hampson. They're saying they don't know how he's even on a major league team right now, but he's batting 239, no home runs, 13 RBIs. So not the greatest season from him, but decent. He's batting ninth anyway, so it's not the bigged loss in the world for the Royals. They got Salvador Perez starting at first base today, and then Freddie Fermin, who has been he DH'd yesterday, I believe. He is getting the start behind the plate. So let's get to the keys to the game. And you got to have some good situational hitting today, especially without JT Realmuto. JT had 2 3-run home runs yesterday. I believe both runners were at second and third. But either way, there was at least one runner in scoring position, and he got 7 RBIs on 3 of his at-bats last night. So 11 minus 7, that's what, 4 runs? So it would have been a 4-2 victory last night. But those home runs, just the momentum swings in favor of the Phillies when you have good situational hitting, when you get these RBIs, or especially big long ones like JT Realmuto hitting the 2 home runs. Kauffman Stadium has one of the lowest home run rates this season and probably of all time compared to other stadiums. So not a park where you often see balls leave the fence, leave the yard. So to have that is huge, a huge momentum swing. And Phillies need to find a way to get some good situational hitting. I know in the first inning, they were 0 for 3. Kyle Schwarber got a leadoff double, and Trey Turner moved him over, but still got it. Now, Alec Boehm and Bryce Harper both got out. They were 0 for 3 with a runner in scoring position in the first inning. So they need to find a way to capitalize on that because I mentioned JT Realmuto, career high 7 RBIs. Last night, next one, you cannot wait too long to hit. Seth Lugo has struggled recently. In the month of August, he's 2-2 with a 5.18 ERA. He was one of the arguably the best pitcher in the American League in the first half. Corbin Burns was the starter for the American League, but a lot of people argued that it should have or could have been Seth Lugo. His ERA before the All-Star break was 2.48, and you see now it's a 3.02. Has pitched a lot of pitches since the All-Star break in general. 103 pitches, 90 pitches, 103, 101, 83, and 97. And he doesn't pitch like a complete – these aren't complete games or most of the time not 8 innings. His last 3 games, 101 pitches in 5 1/3 of an inning. 83 pitches in 4 innings, 97 pitches in 7 innings. So this is a guy that will throw a lot of pitches. You cannot wait until he gets comfortable because last couple games, the last 2 games that Seth Lugo won, he did not give up a run until the 6th inning or later. So Phillies need to strike. I love to say it on here. Strike early, strike often. And then finally, you got to pitch like last night. You got a lefty starting, and then you're going to have a bullpen game after, most likely. Colby Allard, he's averaging about 4 1/3 of an innings pitched in his 3 starts so far. Pitched 4 innings twice. The last game against the Diamondbacks, he went 5 innings, so he can definitely pitch more than 4. He can pitch 5 to 6 innings, especially if he's not going to be on the major league roster after today. If he's able to, and if the performance is there, I think Rob Thompson should let him in 5 minimum. I would say 6 max. If he can get to 7, great. I don't think that's going to happen, though. But I would say he needs to aim to go 6 innings, gives the bullpen a little bit of rest. They had 4 guys come in after Ranger Suarez last night. A phenomenal performance from him, by the way. He looks to be more as comfortable as ever when he was reeling and dealing earlier this year, when he was the National League Cy Young leading candidate. Obviously taking a turn now. It's most likely going to be Chris Sale. Could be Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler is in 2nd place right now. But let's see what we got cooking today for the HRS Triple Play. We had ourselves a night last night. We went 3 for 3. We turned a triple play. So, and between me and Tony, ourselves, just us, we had combined 7 bets. So use your code HEAT. You get 50% off at Win Daily. Uh, if you didn't, so minus what Tony's, because he hit 4 last night. We hit 3 on here. Minus that, if you followed what we did last night and the night before in this Royal Series so far, we went 2 for 3, and then last night we went 3 for 3. You could pay off your first full year by using this code. You would have made that money back. So use your code HEAT, get 50% off at Win Daily. All of the best bets there. So today, Bryce Harper, over 2.5 HRR at plus 115. I was debating between him or Nick Castellanos for this spot, but Bryce Harper had slightly better odds, and I think he's going to be a little bit more better than Nick Castellanos today. Castellanos had much better odds. I don't know how. I'm not sure, but Bryce Harper had better odds. Bryce Harper's been hotter lately, so I am going to give it to Bryce Harper today. Colby Allard, over 2.5 Ks at minus 150. Colby Allard's not a guy that gives you a lot of strikeouts, but he struck out. What he struck out in his last one? I had his game log up. See, this is what ESPN does. I get the game logs up. Here we go. 3 strikeouts, 4 strikeouts. He had 1 in his first game, but that's his first major league start of the year. Had 4 and 3. So I definitely think he's going to get above 2, especially when Ranger Suarez struck out 6 yesterday in about 5 innings. So I think Colby Allard is absolutely going to get more than 2. I would personally be shocked if he didn't. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a really good game, maybe a strikeout an inning. So Colby Allard over 2.5 strikeouts. And then Bryson Stott to get 2+ total bases at plus 115. Bryson Stott, 4 for 4 last night, his first 4-hit game since September of 2023. He looked to be back. It's too early to say that, though. Bryson Stott's been really cold for most of the season for the Phillies. But now a 4 for 4 game, he can follow up on that against Seth Lugo. I mean, the Phillies do have a little bit of history with him. Lugo obviously pitched for the Mets for majority of his career, but mostly as a reliever. And then goes to the Padres, becomes a starter. And Lugo in his career in 34 appearances against the Phillies. He's 3-2 with an ERA of 4.58. I want to get his stats since he joined the Padres in 2022, because that's when he became a starter. Guys are completely different when they're a starter versus a reliever. The 2023 games, because he's had a good amount. Okay, so last year the Phillies faced him in July against San Diego. Lugo gave up 2 home runs, 5 runs, and 7 hits in 5 1/3. It's completely different Lugo. He's been phenomenal for the Royals this year. Did mention how he has struggled lately, though, and he has struggled in his career against the Phillies. So I am projecting Bryson Stott 2+ total bases at plus 115. Colby Allard over 2.5 Ks at minus 150, and then Bryce Harper 2.5 HRR at plus 115. That's hits plus runs plus RBIs, and then the bonus bet of the day, Alec Bohm to get 2+ hits at plus 125. He went 0 for 5 last night, the only Philly that did not get a hit. But guess what? Bryce Harper went over to him, was consolidating with them, having a nice meeting, stepping up, being that leader. And I think that inspiration that Bohm got then, because Bohm has been the Phillies' most consistent hitter the whole season. Harper probably just went up to him and was like, it's okay that it's one night. It's not going to kill you. You've been having a heck of a season so far. Don't get down on yourself. You'll be back. And I think he's going to be back today. 2+ hits at plus 125. So we always talk about the division rivals. Braves currently on a 3-game win streak. They were down 1-0 to the Nationals. Let's see what the score is now. It is 1-1 at the bottom of the 6th. So go Nationals. And then the Mets and the Padres, another rubber matchup in the NL East. This time it's Mets and Padres. They are playing at 4:10. Let's go Padres too. So rooting for the Padres and the Nationals, the former Juan Soto teams. And a new thing I always do it, but giving it a name now. The not just Philly moments of the day, because at Heat Ratio Sports, we do have Phillies pregame show. Tomorrow, Tony and I are going to be doing a Eagles 53-man roster prediction video. But we're not just Philly here. We like to talk about other stuff too. So, the not just Philly moments of the day. Is Francisco Lindor the NL MVP? Speaking of the Mets, I don't think so. A lot of people are arguing that MVPs are won in the second half of the season, which is true to an extent. You look at 2021, Bryce Harper was the NL MVP. He did not even make the All Star team, but had such a good second half that propelled him into the MVP conversations and then ultimately the MVP favorite. So I do not believe that Francisco Lindor is currently the National League MVP. It's Shohei Ohtani, 40 homers, 40 RBIs. But I do think Lindor could be a finalist for sure. I think Ohtani's running away with it. 40 home runs, 40 stolen bases for a DH is insane. But Lindor so far, a 269 batting average, 341 on base, 490 slugging, 27 homers, 78 RBIs in 130 games. I said earlier, the MVP can be won in the second half, but you have to have good enough stats in the first half. And Francisco Lindor really struggled. Moved to the leadoff spot, then started getting on a stride, getting the Mets back on track. I don't think he had good enough of a first half, though. I think he had a really not, I wouldn't say horrible, but not great first half to justify him not winning the MVP. Do think it's Shohei Ohtani. Bryce Harper could be in contention, although I think he's fallen off quite a bit. And then Francisco Lindor hot. So those could be the finalists. Ketel Marte you have as well. So is Francisco Lindor the National League MVP? I don't see it happening unless Ohtani gets hurt and Lindor continues to stay hot. And then moving to football, Jamar Chase. He practiced for the first time in training camp today for the Bengals. There was a report that came out that said Jamar Chase would not play under this current contract, even though he still has 2 years remaining on that contract, which, if true, would be insane. If that's true, that's the players. They have too much leverage at that point. If Jamar Chase is actually doing this, obviously, there's nothing saying that this is actually a thing. He actually will not play, but he hasn't been practice today for the first time. So a good sign for Jamar Chase fantasy owners. I stayed away from him. I think he's too inconsistent for a fantasy player, dealing with some injuries, usually deals with some injuries. He's a top receiver in the league by far. But for fantasy, you don't know if he's going to play without the contract in practice today, so it's a good sign. But inconsistencies and the Bengals losing their offensive coordinator, I would just stay away from Jamar Chase. But for the people that don't, he is practicing. It is a good sign for him to play. And then the Miami Dolphins, they cut backup quarterback Mike White, the former Jet, signed with the Dolphins last season, was their backup, and now the Dolphins cut him. So the only quarterbacks on the roster right now are Tua and Skylar Thompson. For all you Breaking Bad fans, the backup quarterbacks for the Dolphins are no longer Skylar and Mr. White. So shame. They only have 2 quarterbacks on the active roster. I'm not sure if they did that last season. I think they did because I believe Skylar Thompson was on the active roster. I'm not sure if he was a practice squad guy, but could they be bringing back Ryan Tannehill, former Miami guy? So see what the Dolphins do with the quarterback position and see. Talking about roster cuts, I mentioned it earlier. Make sure me and Tony tomorrow night tune in live here at Heat Ratio Sports. We're going to be doing a Eagles 53-man roster final predictions. Should be coming out soon. The first game, little over a week away. Very exciting times for the Eagles. So make sure you check us out tomorrow. And I believe is Tony live tonight at 7 p.m. on Sirius? If he is, you definitely want to check it out. Talk fantasy football as always. And then for you wrestling fans, AEW All In from London at Wembley Stadium. It's 150, so it's been going on for just under an hour. That is today. Some pretty big matches there. And no, pregame. I didn't update that, but usually have the banner for this. Postgame live as always, 5 to 10 minutes after the final out. In the cases of blowout games like last night, I was able to get on less than 30 seconds after the final out. So if it's a blowout, expect me to be on under 5 minutes. If it's a very close game, in the 5 to 10 minutes. So yeah, Phillies, Royals, game 3, huge rubber match last night is done. You got to look forward to now. Doesn't matter what they did yesterday. It's Colby Allard. It's Seth Lugo. It's the Phillies without JT Realmuto. Is that a bad move? I don't think so. I think it's a good time to get Garrett Stubbs in. It's a righty-lefty matchup. Gives JT a day off. Has 7 games in a row upcoming. Phillies need him as healthy as possible for that. So, as always, appreciate everyone tuning in for the Phillies pregame show here on Heat Ratio Sports. Make sure you're liking, make sure you're commenting, make sure you're subscribing, and also make sure you are pressing that notification bell. You get notified anytime we go live here, whether that's me, whether that's Tony, whether it's the both of us. Hopefully can see you all at the post-game show 5 to 10 minutes after, and hopefully we can talk about a Phillies win. So hopefully the Phillies don't stress you out. Hopefully they don't stress me out too much. Hopefully I see you at the post-game show. So have a good one, everyone. Stay fresh, my friends.